Welcome to Reflectivity. This is Talk Time, and I'm here with Rob Kissner, founder and CEO of the Digital Arts Experience.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So our first question for you today is, what led to the founding of the DAE?
It's kind of a long story. I'll try to abbreviate it as best as possible. But my professional background is in the music business, and I spent from basically the time I was 12 until now, or until a few years ago, working professionally in recording studios. And I started off interning. And the thing about interning is you really don't have the opportunity to do any real work. You don't speak unless you're spoken until. You pretty much make coffee and run errands. And throughout my experience in becoming a professional in the music business, producing music, I found that I did not have the opportunity to really get my hands on professional level gear until really my third year of college, at which there was a more than good possibility I would have discovered that I really didn't want to do that professionally. So a big part of creating the Digital Arts Experience was to provide the youth of the community with the opportunity to work hands-on with as close to professional level tools as we can provide, and really give them exposure to the various creative fields there are in the digital world.
That's an absolutely fantastic idea, and it seems to be working quite well here, as is
So
evidenced
far,
by
so
all
good.
of us that are currently working here as interns.
Hey, you know what? We'd love to have you guys here. I mean, things like this are what make the Digital Arts Experience the Digital Arts Experience. It's what makes us unique. To have you guys be a part of this and sort of like, you're sort of our lifeblood. You're like the living proof that what we're doing has merit, So it's really exciting for us.
So you mentioned that you began with your background in the recording studios, and so I know that you went to Scarsdale High School and
I did.
Emerson College.
I did.
Why don't you talk a bit about, the high school experience and what kind of drove you to be interested in the arts?
Well, I, suffice to say, was not necessarily the strongest academic student. I was always sort of interested in two things: playing music and technology. And so getting into recording music was kind of a good marriage between the two. It allowed me to, I'm such a gearhead, I'm a techie, I love talking about specs and DBSPL of microphones and all these really cool, that's like how my head works. And I like the artistic side and the creative side of creating music, so that was sort of a natural fit. And, Scarsdale High School was great. They had a lot of really cool extracurricular opportunities, but nothing really in the recording arts.
Right.
At that time, I graduated high school in 2004. So we're talking basically 2000 to 2004. There were some Photoshop classes, some computer drawing classes, but they were electives and very frequently didn't fit into my schedule. So, that's why I took the initiative to get out and start interning in studios, because while my experience in high school was great, it didn't necessarily provide the extracurriculars that I was really passionate about, and I had to go looking for it elsewhere.
And even still, there are these gaps in academics, at least in public systems, with these classes, which is what's so great about us offering them here.
Precisely, and even if schools have a technology department, design classes or video classes, they're generally a step behind the newest technology because it's expensive to stay on top of the newest versions of software, the newest versions of hardware. We really positioned ourselves to augment what exists in the school system, not be competitive, but to augment it.
And so aside from the courses that we offer here, aside from these summer courses and the courses during the year, what are some of the other services that we provide?
So we do a lot of different things here, all creative in nature. Outside of the educational part of what the DAE does, we also aim to provide affordable workspace to aspiring creative professionals, sort of in the post-college years. Photographers, designers, freelance video editors. The technology is expensive. It's expensive to have an office to meet with clients, and working out of one's home generally is lonely, to be quite frank. So what we do is try to provide an environment where aspiring creative professionals sort of breaking into the industry have a place to be around other creative professionals and work in a professional studio or work with professional computers and editing software, recording studio, whatever it is, at an affordable way, where they can start to gain some momentum with their business and not charge an arm and a leg to offset the cost of a studio or equipment.
Right. Which creates a wonderful energy here at the Digital Arts Experience and allows us to sort of converse with people in fields we may not converse with normally.
Precisely, and it's really cool the way that all of these unique professions have come together organically. We didn't seek them out; they sort of came to us, which is great. You know, we sort of established this super creative environment, sort of a productive, open, bright, collective environment, and the individuals that fit into that sort of came to us. So it's perpetuating itself and growing in an organic way that's really incredible to experience, and it's bringing in all different fields. I mean, we have all this incredible print equipment that's come in as a result of others joining our community. It's really, really exciting to see it happen.
Absolutely. So walk us through a normal day here at the DAE.
So generally speaking, we open at 8 a.m. and 8 a.m. is quiet time. You know, we basically unlock all the doors, turn on all the lights. I use that hour from 8 to 9 to respond to email, really before it starts getting crazy. Around between 8:30 and 9, our students for our summer program start showing up. We have approximately 30 here right now for this 2-week session. The parents drop them off, they go to their respective rooms, the instructors are there to greet them. They get right into it, and the place kind of quiets down a little bit. You know, there's that sort of hustle and bustle in the beginning, at which time some of the businesses that are working out of our space start to come in, get to their sort of daily chores. And at any given time, in any room, there's something interesting going on, whether filming a segment for a web series, or recording drums for a drum video for YouTube, or printing laminated foam core posters for a local business. You name it, it happens here. So you can walk into our facility at any given day and see something exciting happening.
Absolutely. And so the courses that we do have going on right now, why don't you tell us a bit about them and what you intend these students to leave with tangibly and as far as a lesson goes?
Absolutely. So we've got 4 sections running currently. We have a video production class, we have a 2D and 3D animation class, a graphic design class, and a web design class. And the focus of these 2-week programs is it's kind of like a trial by fire crash course introduction to this field. The goal is for these students to gain exposure to the professional reality of that field. The design students are learning not just the software, but the techniques and the thought processes that go into designing a flyer, a movie poster, what have you. And in addition to that, a huge part of the goal is for them to leave with completed work that they can use for a portfolio or college application process, something to benefit their future. So even if they don't decide to go into web design or graphic design, they've got proof and sort of I guess the best thing to say is proof of their accomplishment. So.
And how old or young are these students?
We are currently running, the youngest we've got right now is 5th grade, so what is that, about 10? 10. Up through, I believe we have, the oldest currently is 16. But generally speaking, our classes run from 10 to 18. You know, middle school to high school, let's say.
And so what is your favorite part of working at the Digital Arts Experience?
I would say the dynamic. I'd say my favorite part of working here is just seeing all the exciting things going on. And I guess the best thing to say is sort of this living, breathing thing that's happening here, sort of outside of our control. It's sort of like, you know, if you build it, they will come. We sort of like created this community and people have come to us. They're networking organically without our input. They're doing business together. They're referring business to each other. It's amazing to see this place take shape on its own. It's like a living entity. That's really the most exciting part for me.
And so what are some of the best moments that you've had here over the course of the past year? Because coming up, basically today, depending on when you're watching this video, will be our first year.
Our first year anniversary, which is really exciting, especially because the state we are in now is not even close to what we thought it would be when we first opened. The whole idea changed a little bit. My favorite moments over the past year, I would say, the real milestones for me was our first day of classes, which we did a specialized summer program for a high school in Dobbs Ferry on the site of Children's Village, Mary Bethune High School. That was a big milestone. One other moment that was pretty noteworthy for us is we had a holiday silent auction. We had a holiday party. and the proceeds went to the March of Dimes, who we work very closely with, as well as the 9/11 Fund, which is an organization that's very near and dear to my heart. And I think this is kind of a silly moment, but it just stands out in my mind. Christina from Counterspace, which is a business that's part of our co-working membership, came in and brought a huge box of homemade cookies and went room to room offering the cookies to all of the other members here. And it just sort of like establishes this incredible community that we've got that's so tightly knit, even though we've got such a diverse group of people. That's kind of like part of that living and breathing thing. It's like our community is perpetuating itself on its own. And that's really, really exciting.
It's great to have that kind of support and friendship that's just all around us.
You know, they use a term in co-working spaces, sort of shared workspaces, called accelerated serendipity, which is these sort of serendipitous moments happening on their own as a result of creating a community. And while that's kind of like a, very warm and tingly term, it's amazing to see it actually happen.
Absolutely. And so what are some of your favorite programs to use or favorite things you've worked on?
I've got to say that I'm very partial to Logic and Pro Tools, being in the music production field. I'm a big fan of Final Cut Pro X, although a lot of people aren't. I think it's really, really great and easy to use, and it's great to teach. Photoshop, Illustrator. I'm kind of an enthusiast for all this software, that we work with. Granted, I don't know all of it, and Blender is like reading Japanese to me, But I'm enthusiastic about all of it. But I'm a little partial to Logic and Pro Tools. I have to be true to my audio production nature.
Mm-hmm. And with that nature, what would be some of your favorite bands or musicians that you've seen?
Well, how much time do you have? My favorite band of all time is Iron Maiden. I've seen Iron Maiden, I think, 16 times in 3 different countries.
Wow.
That's a passion. But I'm a fan of every genre of music, from Renaissance classical music to, jazz to hip hop to pop, you name it, I like it. But I would say if I had to, name like 5 musicians in different genres, I'd say like Stevie Wonder, Iron Maiden, Mozart. It's hard to pick.
Absolutely, yeah, so many. And so last question here, what are your visions for the future of the DAE?
Short term, I'd like to see our internal community grow, bring in more members, bring in more diverse creative people. But really the big picture for me is I'd like to prove that what we're trying to do here works, and then extrapolate that and open up multiple locations in sort of the ideal communities. Do I have a number of how many? No, but I'd like in 3 years to be, sort of in the opening stages of a second location. That would be my long-term goal.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.